The text came through at exactly 3 a.m., just as I was putting the finishing touches on an elaborate wedding cake that had kept me in my bakery long past midnight. Don't bother coming home. I've changed the locks. Your stuff's in garbage bags on the front lawn. Enjoy sleeping in your car. I stared at my flour-dusted hands, an eerie sense of calm settling over me. After 12 years of marriage, this was how Nathan had chosen to end things, by trying to turn me into a homeless woman with a text message. The only outward sign that my world had just unraveled was the slight tremor in my fingers as I carefully placed the last sugar flour onto the towering 6-tier cake. My name is Emily Carter, and at 38, I owned one of Boston's most sought-after specialty bakeries. But according to my husband, Nathan, I didn't have a real career. I just played with sugar, while he did the actual work as a high-powered corporate lawyer. His disdain had only grown over the past year, ever since he made partner at his firm and purchased our dream home, a stately brownstone in Beacon Hill, the kind of place I'd imagined raising a family in. Apparently, that dream was over. His next text removed any doubt. Don't even think about coming after the house. Check your signature on the quitclaim deed. You signed it last month, remember? I did remember last month. I remembered every single detail, including the hidden camera I'd installed in my home office after stumbling upon suspicious documents in the printer history. I remembered Nathan shoving paperwork in front of me, claiming it was just routine property tax forms, making sure I was too distracted with a charity event to pay close attention. And most importantly, I remembered never signing anything. What Nathan didn't realize was that I had been quietly watching him for months. The red flags had started small: password changes on our joint accounts, hushed phone calls, inconsistencies in his billing records at work. But it was the draft quitclaim deed sitting in our printer tray that had triggered alarm bells. The next morning, I met with a divorce attorney, Maya Patel. She listened carefully before giving me one piece of advice: gather everything, keep him in the dark, and be ready. So I did. I installed cameras, I archived emails, I photographed every suspicious document, I tracked financial transactions, and I waited. My phone buzzed again. By the way, I already filed for divorce. You'll be served tomorrow. Don't even try to fight it, you can't afford to. Should have picked a real career instead of playing around in a bakery. I packed up the wedding cake with slow, deliberate movements. Years of working with delicate sugar sculptures had trained me to be patient, to be precise, to always think ahead. Nathan had always dismissed my meticulous nature, failing to see that it was the very reason my business was thriving. Instead of driving back to his Beacon Hill home, I headed straight to the apartment I had quietly leased 3 months ago. When I first realized he was plotting something, the security deposit had come from my business account, one of many precautions I had taken over the years to ensure I had financial independence. Nathan had pushed for combined finances early in our marriage, claiming that couples shouldn't keep money separate. I had insisted otherwise, hiring my own lawyer to set up clear legal protections for my business. He had dismissed it as me being difficult. Now, it was going to cost him. My phone lit up with another message. Oh, and don't stress about your little bakery. My client is very interested in that location, prime real estate. Followed by, already told my family you had a mental breakdown. They are so supportive. Mom always said I could do better than a baker. And finally, maybe if you'd gone to law school instead of wasting time at that culinary institute, you'd actually understand what you signed. I calmly took screenshots of every message and added them to my growing folder of evidence. Then, I dialed my lawyer. Maya, it's time. He just tried to lock me out and claims I signed a quitclaim deed. Did you? No, and I have video proof of him forging my signature. There was a pause before she replied, her voice sharper now. Perfect, I'll file for an emergency hearing first thing in the morning. And Emily, she hesitated, then added, I don't think Nathan has any idea what's about to hit him. I ended the call and opened my laptop. The footage from my home office camera was clear as day. There was Nathan, sitting at my desk, carefully practicing my signature before forging it on the quitclaim deed. The date and timestamp left no room for doubt. In another tab, I pulled up the files I had been compiling for months, bank statements tracing large transfers to an account he had hidden from me, emails with his client discussing plans to demolish my bakery and replace it with luxury condos, and the most damning evidence of all, recordings of Nathan boasting to his brother about how he planned to take everything now that he no longer needed my bakery's income to qualify for the house mortgage. A final text flashed onto my screen. Hope you saved some money. Boston's expensive when you're single. Oh wait, you blew it all on that industrial oven last year. I exhaled slowly, thinking about that oven, and the 3 new bakery locations I had quietly opened in Cambridge, Brookline, and Newton, all registered under a holding company Nathan knew nothing about, funded by profits he had been too arrogant to notice. Another buzz. Real estate in Boston is a man's game, sweetheart, leave it to the professionals. I forwarded the message to my lawyer, then pulled up the real estate records my accountant had prepared. Nathan was right about one thing: real estate was a game. But what he didn't know was that I had been playing it far better than him. Additionally, my attorney continued, we have clear evidence that Nathan Carter, as a senior partner at his firm, has been actively representing a developer attempting to acquire Emily Carter's business property, while simultaneously orchestrating a scheme to strip her of her legal rights to it. This is a direct ethical violation, which we will be reporting to the Bar Association. Nathan shot to his feet. Your Honor, I can explain. Sit down, Mr. Carter, Judge Martinez said coolly. Ms. Carter's counsel, proceed. My lawyer laid another thick folder on the judge's bench. We also have correspondence proving that Mr. Carter conspired with his client to force Ms. Carter out of her business location post-divorce. However, she said with a knowing smile, that plan had one fatal flaw. She slid another document forward. Ms. Carter doesn't lease her bakery space. She owns the entire building, through her holding company, Carter Holdings LLC. In fact, she owns multiple commercial properties across the Boston metropolitan area, all financed through her highly successful bakery enterprise. Nathan's face drained of color, his bravado crumbling in real time. I finally turned to look at him, remembering every condescending remark about my little cake hobby. And one more thing, my lawyer continued, flipping to another set of documents. Our financial records indicate that Ms. Carter's bakery generates annual revenues well into 8 figures, substantially more than Mr. Carter's salary as a law firm partner. In fact, she has been the primary financial provider throughout their marriage, a fact Mr. Carter deliberately concealed when applying for the mortgage on their Beacon Hill home. The judge scanned the paperwork, her expression unreadable. Then she turned her sharp gaze to Nathan. Mr. Carter, would you care to explain why you forged your wife's signature on a quitclaim deed? Nathan's attorney frantically whispered to him, but he shoved the man's hand away. Your Honor, this is clearly a fabrication. The footage is timestamped and has been verified, my lawyer interrupted smoothly. Furthermore, we have uncovered evidence of financial misconduct. Mr. Carter has been diverting funds from their joint accounts. Ms. Carter has meticulously documented every unauthorized transaction. Judge Martinez's expression hardened. Mr. Carter, as an officer of the court, you should be well aware of the gravity of fraud and forgery. I am issuing an immediate freeze on all shared financial accounts pending forensic review. Additionally, I am granting Ms. Carter's request for a restraining order, barring you from the marital residence effective immediately. Nathan surged forward in protest. That house is mine. Actually, my lawyer said, barely suppressing a grin. The property is owned by Carter Holdings LLC. Ms. Carter's company provided the full down payment and has covered every mortgage payment since the purchase. Mr. Carter's name is nowhere on the deed. The moment the words left her mouth, the realization dawned in Nathan's eyes. He had spent years boasting about his dream home, never once bothering to verify that he legally owned it. That's impossible, he muttered, his voice shaking. She's just a baker. A baker who built a multimillion-dollar enterprise and holds a substantial real estate portfolio. Judge Martinez corrected sharply. Mr. Carter, I am also referring this case to the Bar Association for ethics review. Forgery, financial fraud, and professional misconduct are serious infractions. Nathan slumped in his chair just as his phone buzzed. He hesitated before glancing down at the screen, and immediately went pale. I knew exactly what he was seeing, the very same message I had just sent to his entire firm. Attached was the video of him forging my signature, alongside emails detailing how he had planned to use his position as a law firm partner to force me out of my own building. Seconds later, another message popped up from his managing partner. Nathan, clear out your office by the end of the day. We'll be reviewing all of your client accounts. The courtroom was silent except for the sound of Nathan's shallow breathing. Judge Martinez delivered her final ruling. Given the overwhelming evidence of fraud, I am granting Ms. Carter's divorce petition on the grounds of misconduct. Mr. Carter, you are to vacate the marital home immediately. We will reconvene in 2 weeks regarding asset division. Though given Ms. Carter's financial independence, I suspect this will be a very short proceeding. As the judge adjourned, Nathan's mother approached, having sat through the entire spectacle in stunned silence. Emily, she stammered, her gaze flickering between me and her disgraced son. I had no idea. Nathan told us your bakery was struggling, that you needed his financial support. I smiled, thinking of all the times she had dismissed my career as a cute little hobby. My bakery supplies desserts to every luxury hotel in Boston, I said evenly. That hobby paid off Nathan's law school debt, financed his car, and funded the house he just lost. I gestured toward the door. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have 4 locations to oversee. Nathan's head snapped up. 4, he choked out. The development plans only showed 1. I let out a soft laugh. You never paid attention to what I was actually doing, Nathan. You were too busy scheming to realize that I was always 2 steps ahead. I hope you enjoy moving back in with your parents. I hear the guest room is lovely this time of year. 1 month later, I sat in my office overlooking Boston Harbor, reviewing the blueprints for my next project, my 5th bakery location. Nathan's former firm had quietly settled my civil suit, paying out a hefty sum rather than facing a public scandal. Meanwhile, the Bar Association had suspended his law license pending an ethics investigation. As I skimmed through my emails, my phone vibrated with a new message from Nathan's brother. Emily, I know it's awkward to ask, but would you consider catering my wedding? Mom keeps raving about your raspberry cream cake. I smirked, glancing at the society page announcement I had just approved. Carter Holdings acquires historic Beacon Hill block. The very block where Nathan had once purchased what he thought was his dream home. Revenge was sweet, but having my ex-mother-in-law publicly admit she craved my desserts. That was delicious. And the framed property deed for Nathan's former house hanging on my office wall. That was just the icing on the cake.